Blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Joining us now is the author of Robert Mueller, Errand Boy for the New World Order from Louisiana State Senator, a Democrat, John Malkovich. Mr. Malkovich, Senator, welcome. Good to have you back again, sir.
Hey, is this Kevin?
It's Kevin. You're on the air, brother.
You're the rock star. And, Milkovich, just like a glass of milk. And I was born in Roundup, Montana. So I was started out as your neighbor, though I am living in Louisiana. Three great states, Idaho, Montana, and Louisiana. And I hope I don't sound political when I say this, but that's three of the greatest states in America.
Well, we don't mind you sounding political. So the Mueller report, your thoughts?
Look, I have to be very honest with you. Our session has started in the Louisiana legislature. I have not had a chance to really do a lot of research on the actual released report, but I am very interested to see that President Trump says that obviously we know the bottom line is exoneration. Right on. That's a win for America, a win for the president, win for the American people, and a loss for Team Mueller. When President Trump says that the nasty comments are total, we don't need to say it over the air. I'm going to vote that the president's probably right. Have I analyzed each of those claims? I have not, but this is what we know. Stop me when I get boring. What we talk about in the book is that Mueller's been, he's a professional cover-up artist. Whitey Bulger, Pan Am 103, BCCI, 9/11, Anthrax, weapons of mass destruction, being a cheerleader for a surveillance state where the federal government spies on our phone calls and emails. And then we get to the present case where his team is mistreating potential witnesses and filing charges against them. Michael Flynn facing bankruptcy or being broke, and they're threatening legal prosecution against his son. Michael Cohen, according to Lynn Patton, they threatened to throw his wife in jail for 30 years. Jerome Corsi said they were spying on his family, made threats to bring charges against his stepson, veiled or direct, and then they tried to intimidate him in interviews into saying what they wanted him to say. Roger Stone's, basically, they've driven him broke, make a pre-drawn Gestapo-style raid that's videotaped by CNN. By the way, the Mueller team couldn't have leaked. That was just a coincidence. CNN was there. And then Manafort, they're trying to destroy his health. He supposedly ripped off several million. The Mueller math is curious to me because he was supposed to investigate BCCI. Those people mishandled billions. A billion is 1,000 times more than a million last time I checked in pre-Common Core math. So I said all that to say this. Mueller's been crooked for 30 years. So if it gets down to, do I believe the president in saying that Mueller's snarky comments are false, or do I believe Mueller? Mueller's got a track record of anti-credibility.
All right, Senator, let's continue on here on KIDO Talk Radio. Why is the name, for people in the West, they're not really familiar with Whitey Bulger. There are a couple movies about him, The Departed and such, the Johnny Depp movie, lots of documentaries. Why do you name Whitey Bulger? Why is he important to Robert Mueller?
I'm going to try to be quick so you don't gong me like they used to do on the Gong Show. You're too young to remember that, Kevin.
No, I'm your age, brother. We're good.
Okay, hey, I like it. I love when I'm talking to people in their 30s. I can relate to them. Listen, the quick story: Whitey Bulger was a mobster, murderer in Boston, running the Boston Mafia, and the Boston FBI was helping him. Every time someone would investigate him, try to throw him in jail, the Boston FBI would bail him out, and it got so bad that the Boston FBI not only taking bribes, they were actually participating in murders. I didn't make that up. That's not a conspiracy theory. 3 Boston FBI agents were implicated, indicted, and or imprisoned for murder. And where was Robert Mueller in the middle of all that? Well, geographically, chronologically, he's right in the middle of it. You see, he was the assistant district attorney in Boston and later acting U.S. attorney in Boston. Guess what he did about the fact that Whitey Bulger and the FBI were killing people and running a criminal racketeering enterprise? Nothing.
Senator Milkovich joining us. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Let's we'll get back to Robert Mueller and everything else. Now, you're a Democrat.
Well, I'm a registered Democrat, and
well, you're an elected official too, sir.
Sure, there you go. Come on. Is that, I'm not sure if that latter thing you said is some people might disagree whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. Yeah, I believe this is when we ran for office. We said, look, we're running on Bible principles and the United States Constitution, not a political party platform. And I think all Americans, we need to get to the point where we say, look, let's do the right thing. Let's get beyond the party labels. We're Christians. We're patriots. We're Americans. We don't have to agree on everything, but we need to agree in justice, liberty, freedom. And I understand, Kevin, and you know, correct me if I'm getting off track here, but, you know, President Trump takes a lot of criticism. And do I agree with everything he does? No. Do I see everything the way? No, I don't. We disagree. But I think we should be unifying and behind this principle. The president, for all his imperfections, I'm going to go on record. I believe he loves America. I'm going to go on record. I think he's trying to do the right thing. I'm going to go on record. I don't think he's a racist. I think he has tried to reach out to ethnic groups. And by the way, I don't even go along with the he hates people from foreign countries mantra. He actually, I've been told that last year we had one of the largest immigration influxes in recent years. Did you know? This was told to me by a person in their 20s. They said there was actual people in the Obama administration. This blows your mind because of all the stereotypes we get in the media. They called Barack Obama the deporter in chief. You know that he had a year where he deported more people than Donald Trump ever did. So I don't agree with them saying that Donald Trump hates all foreign people, doesn't care for them. I think that he says we need to follow the rule of law so that we, instead of kicking the can down the problem and sending all the gangsters from one country to another, that we put MS-13 in jail, not in America, but in prisons, wherever they are, that we stop bombers from coming in here. So, I mean, I don't know what happened in the Notre Dame thing, so I better not make an opinion on that. But, he said we don't need terrorists, we don't need bombers, we don't need drug dealers. I don't think that's a hatred of foreign people. You could even make the argument, you know, people say, well, he hates all people from Muslim countries. That is so interesting to me because what president did more in the last 25 years to actually try to help the hapless people? You know, not all people that are born in Muslim countries are horrible people. There's some people that just happen to be born there and they want hope and they want family and they want peace and they just wish they weren't in the middle of all these crazy fanatics and flying bullets and continual civil war.
No, I'm with you, Senator, but where I was going with this was
I'm sorry.
Here on KIDO Talk Radio, Senator, I mean, you're in the party with Omar, Tlaib, Schumer. You sound like a Republican.
Well, I just want to be a Christian and American. That's most important to me. And to finish that other point, he's the one that destroyed. ISIS was serially sexually abusing, torturing, executing people in the Mideast. What president other than Donald Trump actually went over and wiped them out? Because he actually had concern for people that were living, innocent people in Muslim countries. Anyway, that's totally against code to make that argument. But yeah, I get your point, and I think, and what's your view? Don't you think it's time for people across party lines and ethnic lines and socioeconomic, those are big words I can't say, to come together and say, look, let's be an America that honors God and freedom and justice and work together? Kevin, preach for us.
Senator Milkovich, we love you, but look, the people of the Democratic Party, they're the libs. Now, you're an old-fashioned Democrat, blue dog Democrat. I get that. I did a lot of time in the South. I have a lot of respect for you people. However, you look at these crazy, wacky, zany radicals that probably put you in the same camp as us. That can't be good for America when, you got the Omars and the Tlaibs, and they make Schumer, Pelosi, and Obama seem conservative.
And, without me knowing and having done thorough researches on these people's backgrounds, I hesitate to call out people individually by name. But I will say I'm very disappointed in what many of the Democrats in Congress are doing. And I think the American people. And honestly, I would love to see an America where it's not just Republicans saying, look, you people, some of you people in Washington are crazy. I think Democrats, Republicans, blacks, whites, Hispanics should come together and say, look, some of the things you people in Washington do are crazy. And by the way, to your point, do I agree that a lot of the illogic and lapse in morals and losing our compass is on the D side in Washington, you are correct, sir. Wasn't that Johnny Carson that used to say, or was that was Ed McMahon that used to say that?
Yeah.
You are correct, sir.
So, Senator Milkovich, finally, back to Mueller, back to this. Again, the people of your political party, and I know, again, Blue Dog Democrats, conservative Democrats, very different and endangered species.
Let's go with red, white, and blue dog Democrats.
All right, but endangered species today. You've got people calling for impeachment. What do you say to that?
Well, Congress has a constitutional right to impeach President Trump, and it would be stupid because Donald Trump is what stood between us and Hillary Clinton. And if people trust Hillary Clinton, I want a Democrat to look me, and if any of those people say, well, Hillary should be president, I want you to look me in the eye and tell me it's a coincidence that all these people that have the goods on the Clintons ended up having their lives violently terminated, and it's a coincidence. Tell me that Seth Rich being killed was after he released information on Hillary Clinton was just a coincidence. Tell me that Vince Foster's death was really a suicide. And listen, the lists are out there on the internet, researchers, writers. There's a bunch of people that have suffered PMS. I call that premature mortality syndrome. I mean, let's get real. Who cares what, it's not about party. Let's get to the truth. When, people aren't accusing Donald Trump of having his political enemies killed. But I will tell you that over the last 25 years, people that have opposed the presidential or the agendas of people that were in presidential office ended up not being alive anymore. And anyway, maybe I'm saying too much.
All right, Senator, you're going back to can't we all come together? By the way, finally, if people want the insight into Mueller they can only get from you, where can they get your book?
Thank you, Kevin. RobertMuellerErrandBoy.com. That's RobertMuellerErrandBoy.com. By the way, Kevin, I don't know if you noticed, we beat Mueller. When I say we, you had a big role in that, and Mark Levin and Bill Martinez and Ann Vandersteel and A.J. Rice and Kim Kennedy. We beat him. And Donald Trump. We beat him. So congratulations to you. The American people stepped up to the plate and put pressure, and some congressmen stood up. We get mad at Congress. Louis Gohmert, Jim Jordan, Rand Paul. We beat them. Hallelujah. We won that battle. And that was a big one.
Senator Milkovich, God bless you, brother.
Kevin, you keep doing what you're doing, and I congratulate you for stepping up to the plate and doing your part in the battle to defeat Team Mueller.
Take care, sir.
God bless you, buddy.
God bless you. Our great friend, Senator Milkovich. We love him. We need a senator like that around here. Liberty Linda, thank you for your patience. You're on KIDO Talk Radio.
Yes, good morning. Senator Milkovich sounds like a real Democrat. And, there shouldn't be that much difference between a Republican and a Democrat. So I really like the things that he said this morning. Today, unfortunately, most Democrats have turned socialist and even some of them into communists. And we're wondering what in the world is going on in our country. And Kevin, with this Mueller report, they strung this out as long as they possibly could, and it came out to be nothing. So I think we should move on with what President Trump wants to do and, make America great again, which he has done since day one, since he's taken over. And we know all the good things he's done. So anyway, I called in regarding the marijuana thing. And, they've done studies in California on people who have died that were marijuana smokers, and they have actually found that their brains actually caved in after death. And this was a study done in the 70s and 80s. So with marijuana, we know it takes you to an altered state. And anyway,
we proudly just say no. We don't want the...
Just say no, yeah.
Yeah, we don't want them here.
I'm with you all the way with that. Just say no. I don't believe that there's anything good except for this other that they're using in the hospitals today, what Tea Party Bob was talking about. I believe in that. As long as it's medically good for you, then that is something different. But no, I still love people who may be marijuana smokers. We love everyone. We all should love each other. We're all brothers and sisters on this whole earth.
Well, somebody better tell that to the libs.
They should tune in and listen to your show, I'll tell you, so that they'll know truth. And, yeah, we don't know what's going on in our world today, in our country today, that everybody seems to be way off to the left so far that our heads are spinning, actually, what's gone on in our country. So let's get back to common sense. Let's get back to President Trump. And I really like Senator Milkovich. He sounds like a real Democrat. And so I like that. Thank you for having him on this morning.
Thank you, Liberty Linda. You take care.
You as well. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, coming up next, your reaction to the Mueller report, more calls, and Boise Hemp Fest coming to town. And if you're on the west side of the valley, you can go to the one in Ontario. We're surrounded by the pro-pot forces. Your reaction next. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Taking your calls on the Mueller report reaction, the libs wanting to impeach the president, and this story.
The New York Yankees have benched Kate Smith. They've been playing that recording of the singer's God Bless America during the seventh inning stretch ever since the 9/11 attacks. But the Yankees have now suspended that practice after learning that Smith recorded a song some 80 years ago that some now feel is racist. The Yankees say they are erring on the side of sensitivity. Kate Smith died in 1986. Jack Callahan, Fox News.
Well, God bless the New York Yankees. Want to make sure that we double check what Kate Smith did. Are we ever, doesn't this get ridiculous? We're banning God Bless America, the Kate Smith version, because of an allegation that happened over 80 years ago. And who really is going to be upset about that? Can we stop coddling people? My dad once, we were driving in the car when he and my mom were visiting. And he wanted to go to this one restaurant for dinner. And all of a sudden, I said, well, here's such and such. And my mom got all excited about it. And then we decided to go to the place she wanted to go. And we said, hey, Dad, you okay? Are you upset? Nope. I choose to be a victim, he said. That's what our society has come down to. You know who's not a victim? People that are roofers, people that are doing construction, people that are out in the elements, people that are first responders, people in the military. Enough with the coddling. Enough with the coddling where we have grown men going, I'm offended, I'm triggered. It's time to cowboy up. Is it not? We're going to get rid of God Bless America. I don't even know what she did allegedly 80 years ago. She's not around to defend herself. Are you kidding me? This is the world that we live in. At 580-5436, 580-KIDO. There's one person. Let me get to that in a minute. Traffic and weather together. Let's get you to work safely and on time. KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Dave. And I'm Kevin Miller. Coming up next, we'll talk about one person, especially today. That would be Jesus Christ, that chose not to be a victim. Why he's still a example for all of us. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Doug. KIDO Talk Radio, 107.5 FM, 580 AM, your exclusive home for Fox News in the Treasure Valley. Rachel Sutherland joins us now from Capitol Hill. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Kevin.
So we're dealing with the day after the release, the press conference, where do we go from here?
Well, the latest is that the House Judiciary Committee has already issued a subpoena for the full unredacted report. Well, that's less than 24 hours after we got the original version. So Democrats are definitely looking at this open-ended question about obstruction of justice from Robert Mueller and going with that. They are concerned about what some of the stuff that they read in the Mueller report. It breaks down into two parts. You probably talked it to death already, but a volume 1 and a volume 2. And the first part really lays out Russia's efforts to try to interfere in our election. It was quite unprecedented in scope and and scale. And but Robert Mueller found no evidence that any U.S. persons, no one on the Trump campaign, nobody conspired with the Russian government. The second part, the second volume, is where the controversy lies, because this lays out a case for obstruction of justice. Like we had not heard before that President Trump pressured his then counsel, Don McGahn, to get rid of Robert Mueller. And it was only McGahn saying he was going to quit, just walk out, because he didn't want some kind of Saturday Night Massacre type thing that stopped him. And in some respects, you look at Don McGahn and see that he pretty much saved the president on that one, even though the president became angry. And then Robert Mueller left that open, the obstruction case, for Congress to really decide. And now you see Congress responding as far as Democrats are concerned. But there's a lot of questions, Kevin, about whether or not it would be politically advantageous for Democrats to try an impeachment when they have an election coming. When Republicans impeached Bill Clinton back in the late 1990s, they lost a ton of seats on Congress. So it could be that Democrats don't see this as politically expedient.
I'm with you. Rachel Sutherland joining us, Fox News Radio on KIDO Talk Radio with Kevin Miller in the morning. But, you go to the president's counselor, Don McGahn. I actually have a buddy of mine that was an Uber or whatever that was driving with McGahn. He goes, like 6 months ago, he said, look, the guy goes, hey, bro, can you tell me about the report? He goes, there's nothing there. This was right when we heard this stuff. So it's fascinating that we're getting this inside look that we usually don't get unless we're reading a Bob Woodward book.
Oh, that's right. And it reads, really, if people haven't read it, it's not that difficult to read. There is some legalese in it, but you can get around all that. And some of the scenes are set, you can almost see them playing out in your head. It's very well written, very easy to understand. It is long. It's like 448 pages. There are some appendices at the end that you don't have to really, unless you want to go through all that. But it's worth the read, especially when you see what Russia was doing in hacking into the DNC server and the emails disseminated through Guccifer 2.0 and DC Leaks and WikiLeaks. And they actually used some of their fake accounts to try to attempt to reach out to members of the Trump campaign. But the Trump campaign didn't know it was them that they were talking to. So it looks like Russia really tried,
right,
and the Trump campaign did not, reciprocate.
Right. It is a fascinating read. It'll be interesting to see if this impeachment goes forward. Once again, you'll be very busy one way or the other.
Right. And it will be interesting to see what Democrats do with this because it will depend on their strategy moving forward. I'm sure they'll spend some of the Easter weekend thinking about it. The Congress is out again next week. The president is actually tweeting this morning about the report, basically saying that it contains lies and questioning some of the report. I guess probably the stories about Don McGahn and Corey Lewandowski and some of the stuff that we hadn't heard about. Again, referring to 18 angry Democrats and basically calling some of it is total BS. So I won't use the entire word that he wrote. But then one has to ask, okay, if it totally exonerates you, but parts of it you don't like. So I mean, it's kind of like you have to take the good with the bad. And he could have used executive privilege to keep some of this back, but he didn't.
And as we like to say, Rachel, to be continued. You have a great weekend, ma'am.
You too.
Rachel Sutherland joining us. Mark in Eagle, who's been very, very patient. Mark, good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio.
Good morning, Kevin. Would you mind if I kind of change the subject matter with Mueller and all this stuff to gas prices?
This is one of my favorite topics, so we will grant you a certification of absolution. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, sir. I don't know how many people out there are noticing with all the other stuff going on in the news, but, living here in Eagle, down the way is Jackson Gas Station, Mini Mart's a Shell station. I've watched in about 5.5 weeks, our gas prices go from $2.29 a gallon to now $2.95 a gallon, approaching $3 a gallon. That's 65 to 70 cents, folks, in about 5.5 weeks. I called Channel 2 yesterday and talked to one of the news people there and asked them, what's going on? I'm not hearing much as to why. The same old excuse about some refineries are down for maintenance. Isn't it interesting how they all seem to go down about the same time? The lie about the winter and the spring or the winter-summer blend, I mean, this was happening, folks, before we even got into spring and the spring break. where if you notice these prices were going up about 5 to 6 cents a day. There was a story yesterday, and I just sent it to you again, Kevin, on Drudge Report. Mystery surcharge among taxes fees added to gasoline in California. And you say, well, that's California. That's typical for them. But this is the stuff I have tried to bring forth to Brett DeLange, and I don't think he's the Assistant Attorney General anymore, Dave Carlson at AAA, trying to get John Jackson, who I spoke with numerous times in the past when we were getting, pardon the expression, but screwed here in the Valley with high prices. There was a University of California Berkeley professor has drawn attention to the mystery surcharges in the state down there. He has estimated, he apparently is the professor at UC Berkeley's Haas School of Business and former chairman of the State Petroleum Market Advisory Committee, which California pays some of the highest prices in the country. But he says from about 2015 on, that California drivers has been basically screwed over for an extra $20 billion as in Baker, dollars. And you say, well, again, what does that have to do with us here? Well, John Jackson likes to tell me about the pipeline that comes out of Utah here, the growth here, the demand, all this bit. Well, you know what, folks? In all the years, 24 years of being here, being a small business owner, I've never seen an issue where we've had to go on odd even days because there wasn't enough supply of fuel coming here. That's one of the problems. We produce more than the Saudi Arabians. It's come out multiple times in the media. You find it on the Internet. It's been reported in the news. Because of the technology we have here, we are now exporting oil to other countries here. Our car manufacturers has been in the news lately also, if you've heard this, folks, about the fact that they want to start carrying smaller cars, sedans that are basically better gas mileage in lieu of the big gas hogs like SUVs and trucks.
Well, and Mark, let me jump in here for a second.
Go ahead, sir.
You need to call in on Monday and let Dave Petso hear what you have to say. Cause he always talks about the gas prices. See, I agree with you. I think there's a conspiracy. I think these oil companies are sticking it to us along with the government, and nobody's covering it. And here's the other one. When you're talking to folks at Channel 2, unless they get a press release on it, they're not going to cover it. But it's ridiculous how much gas has gone up with you made the case. There's no big deal, but every year, well, we go from winter to spring, spring to summer, and they jack up the prices artificially to stick it to us.
Well, the difference in the blend from summer to winter doesn't equate to 65 to 70 cents a gallon, 5.5 weeks. I called Channel 2, 6, and 7 and brought it to their newsroom's attention and talked to the news people in each of those stations in the Valley and talked to them and asked them about this too. But I hate to say it, but they act like, when you discuss this to them on the phone.
Well, most of them are little kids.
I'm sorry?
Most of them are little kids.
Well, now these are some of the people I see and hear on the news.
No, but I mean, most of them are young reporters. This is their first job. They're in their early 20s. God bless them. They're doing a good job. Not a lot of life experience. And they're taught, here's the press release. Here's who you talk to. Shoot your own stuff, and they're done. It's not like you're speaking to a lot of veterans anymore.
Well, real quick, because I know you have other callers, Kevin, and I just want to make a point. A few years back, when we had issues with the gas prices going up here, there was a caller that called in. He was a truck driver for Flying J. And at the time, this is probably about 4 years ago, I believe, and when we were complaining about prices going up artificially high here in the Valley and the normal stuff that we hear from the media, which is coming from the distributors here, suppliers here in the Valley, and all the BS that we get, spin the roulette wheel of what's the reason why the prices have gone up. There was a guy who was a driver for Flying J, calls into one of the talk radio stations and basically had said that they were taking from the tank farm over here off of Curtis, I believe, which all your gas stations get their gas over here at the tank farm. So they were trucking this the fuel down there in trucks through Flying J trucks down there to Winnemucca, Elko, Nevada, and selling it cheaper down there at that time. And he exposed that. That's prompted me to call Brett DeLange at the time and ask him to explain. All I got was this lame answer from Brett. Well, they can charge whatever they want. I said, well, Brett, can you explain why they're selling it cheaper and they got to truck it on trucks down there? I said, this is a caller into one of the stations that has mentioned this on our talk radio show. And I got just a dumb cluck answer from him. I'm going to let you go. You have a good weekend, sir, and a happy Easter.
All right, happy Easter, Mark. Let's go to Rob in Nampa on KIDO Talk Radio with Kevin Miller. Good morning, Rob.
Kevin, my longtime brother by another mother, I haven't called you in a while. My phone died, or you dodged the bullet this morning, my son, because who am I? Well, I went to school since 6th grade with good old pot-smoking Rusty boy, but he was a nerd. I mean, I've got his picture right here in the 84 Nampa High annual. He's like number 16 on page 182 when we were juniors. He used to have, like, freckles, red hair, big teeth, big eyes. Yeah, he was a cool cat. We always were into, Star Wars and sci-fi, and I was really never hanging around the nerd crowd, but he was always anti-pot because, well, he always hung around with, again, the nerd crowd. They played Dungeons and Dragons and did whatever, and I haven't seen the guy. So you got him on. I'm like, I didn't know this guy. And he was okay, a cool cat when he was in school with us, but, he was always a big mouth and always had some weird, whatever he was talking about in a debate class or whatnot. But all of a sudden, now he transformed and now he's a Kool-Aid drinking liberal Democrat smoking dope every day. I don't get it. Hopefully he's still in the studio and he'll be over here having heart attacks. He hasn't seen me in since we graduated in 1985. But anyways, one you can definitely put it to. It's always, of course, it's a gateway drug, duh. But it's going to kill him quicker than it would ever me when I don't smoke anything. You go from cigarettes with filters on them to pot. Then you go from pot, because, well, that doesn't really do it. And I remember when we were all in the 80s, they had, remember the little pills called Cross Tops? All the cheerleaders wanted to lose weight. It wasn't meth then, it was Cross Tops. They did that. And then it went from that to something, well, I hate to say, well, I've tried Coke. You want to talk about a killer drug, it's Coke. And then you go from that to heroin to the oxys or whatever. But they'll come up with the same argument as he did with you a little bit. Oh, it's an herb, and you've heard it from the old dope-smoking liberal hippies. It's my medicine, dude. It grows in the ground, man. It's good from God. It's from God. It's nature. I'm like, well, you can do the same thing. And I have a few friends that they still drink, and once in a while they smoke pot, whatever. I'm like, well, good for you. It's just burning your brain. Plus, it's definitely going to put you in early grave with lung cancer. Duh. I mean, there's no filter on the crap. You're hitting that bong right there. You're smoking your pot out of a pipe. It's going directly in your lungs, and you're holding it in for 20 minutes, and you go, because it's killing your lungs. But you can say, well, let's see. My favorite country is Colombia. You've got Colombia, Peru, Bolivia. You've got Asia where they have, yes, ephedra. That's where meth comes from. And you have Afghanistan where you have heroin coming from. So why not legalize all of that? They'll say, well, we need to legalize this because it's just an herb. It's a tree. It's my medicine. And it's a gateway drug. And then they got the gateway thing. We're starting down, hate to say it, with Tea Party Bob with his whole hip fest. Think about 26, 30 years ago. That's what happened in California, as you all remember.
Well, no,
Right.
I'm with you, Rob. By the way, Rob in Nampa joining us. Kevin Miller here, KIDO Talk Radio. Why don't you talk some smack to Tea Party Bob? He's leader of the Hemp Brigade.
I need to. I mean, I'm like, and I can imagine what Russ looks like. Like I say, I've got his picture right here. I'm looking at it. I am seriously looking at his picture when we were in juniors in 1984. I don't know what Bob looks like. Well, I guess I do, not lately, but, what is his idea? Well, I don't get it. You can get the same if you're going to leach the drugs out of supposedly that help people from the pot. You don't have to smoke the pot to get the buzz. That's the whole. I love their fantasy of telling everyone, well, no, we just need the medicine from it. We need the whatever's in it that helps us with pain. I'm like, well, then there's 10 million other. What? Well, that's right. And it didn't come from space aliens. There's 10 million other medicines on this planet that all came from here. It came from some sort of plant, whatever. It certainly didn't come from space aliens. So why are you telling me that you need to go smoke pot every day and make it all legalized all across the United States? There'll be a bunch of burned out pothead losers. And, then we get away with them. And then they come back with, then we're going to have all the taxes and the big benefit of that. No, we'll do it. We will totally dissuade the illegal aliens and the pot dealers or, the cartels in Mexico. No, they're still shipping in tons of it and growing it in California. You just watch Drugs Inc. or any show, you'll see all the legal aliens out there and their big pot farms up in the Golden Triangle. Everybody knows about that in California. So, again, but it's cool that you were trying to defend all of our side of it, which is, I'm obviously an arch conservative. I'm not a tree-hugging liberal Democrat. But what can you do? I mean, you got to speak some sense into Tea Party Bob. I mean, he's out there listening. I mean, I'm sure he's choking on his Java right now, same as the rest of the liberals are. I mean, even though he's not.
Did you just call Tea Party Bob a liberal?
Well, he's a libertarian. I mean, I have a bunch of, sort of friends that they don't smoke pot. Like, why do you have to go down that route? I drink.
You need to call in more often, brother. It's been a while.
Well, I haven't in a long time. It's been since we were lambasting your good other liberal pot buddy, the big old fatty, liberal Steve. And remember, he all faked out on us on Thanksgiving. You were out there with the turkey right down here in Nampa, and he all flaked out on us. He didn't pledge 10 cents. Remember that?
He welched. Rob, I got to run. Thank you.
All right, brother. Thanks so much. Take care, and hopefully I'll lambast Rust again sometime. If you ever have him on,
we'll have him back, and
wants to talk to you.
Right. We'll have him back. Thank you, Rob.
Thanks. Take care, buddy. See you. Bye.
Bye. Resolute Raj joins us now. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Hello, Resolute.
Good morning, Kevin. How are you today?
Not bad. And you?
Very good, sir. Hey, so about this pot, Russ was totally minimizing the side effects of pot, but again, I'm from California, and I saw what pot did, and I'm talking about just legalize it medically. My wife was a school teacher. She saw 7-year-olds coming to school wasted at 8 o'clock in the morning because their parents smoked pot, driving them to school. So how are you going to teach a 7-year-old that's wasted on pot? That's one of the side effects. Another side effect, nursing student, a local college, she was jogging, run over by a driver that was wasted on pot. So I don't know if Russ is not aware of these side effects, but I saw these side effects firsthand in California. I saw home invasions that included homicide because you have criminal gang members kicking in doors at 3 o'clock in the morning to steal pot from people that are growing it. So there's so many negative side effects that outweigh the possible supposed positive effects that I don't see it being worth the risk. And you know what? I moved to Idaho to get away from that. I don't want it coming here. If Russ wants it, he could move to a state that allows it, and it sounds like he did. I don't want it coming here.
Raj, thank you for the call. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.